Carrie asked, what materials should I give out when a student registers for my preschool? Now, there's actually two sides to this question because when they register, they're usually at a tour. If you've followed all of my other trainings, you know that there's a 3-step process to having them sign up, right? The first one is you send out your marketing materials with everything on it. The second one is they call you, and the third one is you give them a tour and sign them up at the end of the tour. So at the end of the tour, this is part one of what I will answer you, and the second part is actually at the meet and greet right before preschool starts. When I first started my preschool, I didn't have all the bells and whistles that I do currently, but the very first thing that I did was I gave them the policies and procedures handbook because I wanted them to read it before preschool started. Now, usually people signed up anytime between January to August, so there was a large window for them to be able to read that material, and I thought, wonderful, now they'll definitely read it because they have so much time. However, what I realized the longer my preschool went on was actually the majority of people never read the policies and procedures handbook. And so we would get to the very first day of preschool and everybody would be super confused. How do I pay you? When do I pick up? How do I pick up? Who do I call? When should I call you? They had all these questions that I literally was like, they're in the handbook. Did you not read it? And they're like, oh, I forgot about that. I don't even know where that is because we registered like 4 months ago. And I'm like, okay, let me get you a new one. So here's what I do instead. There are 2 time periods that I talked about, the tour and the meet and greet. Now here's the trick. At the tour, I actually don't give anything out. They come in, they register, they sign their registration form, and they give me the registration fee, and that's it. I don't have them walk out with anything. Now, some people might change and say, you know what, I would love to give them a goodie bag, things like that. You totally can, and I totally would love you to do that. But I give all of my materials out at the meet and greet. Now, a meet and greet is something new that I've never done before. When I first started my preschool, I usually would just do the tour, they'd sign up, and then months later, I would have my very first preschool day, and hello people, right? Or maybe I would do like an open house or something a couple weeks before preschool started so they could meet me again, but it was really weird and disjointed. As my preschool started growing, I went from 24 students the first year to 40, 48, 96, 120, 150, like I kept growing. This was every single school year. Of course, they didn't all show up at once, but I had 150 families, we had 13 different classes, 8 different teachers. Like my school ran like a well-oiled machine, but here is why. I started doing what's called a meet and greet. And a meet and greet is when all of the parents and students who are enrolled come to your preschool a couple weeks before your preschool starts, about 2 weeks usually, and they go through what I call a meet and greet, which is basically like a tour, but after they've already signed up. So they'll come in and I greet everybody, and we're usually in a preschool classroom or your home or however it is, and we say hello to everybody, and I call all of the preschool students over to the circle rug and I put their little name tags on them and they all sit down, and then I take the parents into another room while the preschool teacher stays with the students and plays with them while I can chat with the preschool families. Now if you're the one-woman show and you're the teacher, owner, and director, then I suggest that you invite a friend to come over and help be that extra person in the class so that you can have that time with the parents. If you have a different room in your home, that'd be amazing. If you could do a living room and like your downstairs basement or something like that, where you had 2 different areas, or even a larger playroom, and then you take the parents into your living room, something like that, so that you can separate the parents and just be able to talk to them individually is great. But you still want to be able to get to know the students, right? So that's why they all come together. You can kind of get to know them again. Oh, that's right. You know, I haven't seen you for 6 months because that's when you registered 6 months ago, and you kind of get to know the students again right before school starts. Hey, real quick, do you want to start a preschool but you have no clue how to do it? I mean, I know you're loving these videos, that's why you're here, but do you actually want the step-by-step process to get you from where you're at to having a successful preschool so you can stay home with your kids and finally create that consistent income? I've got exactly the right thing for you. I want to gift you a free copy of my book called Start Your Preschool. Guess what? This has over 300 pages teaching you how to do a local or an online preschool. It's my story of how I started my preschool and also how I've shared this knowledge and this mission with everyone over the past 10 years to help thousands of mothers start their own preschools as well. They've literally gone through this exact same training in my book. I want to get it to you so you can finally stay home with your kids. Don't wait. This is your chance. Get your free copy of my book. Simply go to freepreschoolbook.com or click the link in the description and I'll ship you out a copy for free. I hope you're loving these videos, but let's pause these videos for one quick sec and go get my book. Now, during the time of the meet and greet is when you go through all your policies again with the parents. You get them back on board of what is going to be happening during the school year. And here's the genius part about it, guys. It's literally perfect because their head is in the mode. How do I pick up? When do I pay? When do I talk to you about what issues, right? They want to know that stuff because literally preschool is going to start in 2 weeks. And so you're going over all the policies again that you probably already talked about during the tour, but that might have been months ago. And so you're going through those policies, you're going through the calendar, the schedule, when people should talk to you, how they should talk to you. That's a story for another day. And then what I do is that's the time that I give them their policies and procedures handbook. Now, most of the stuff we cover during the meet and greet, but then there's other little itty bitty things that they still need to know. So I do send it with them as they leave our meet and greet. And I do tell them, even if you got this last year, guys, it is still important that every year you read it through. It's a couple pages long, it's a very fast read, but I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page with the handbook. And so sometimes I'll even throw in something new and I'll say, oh, something's new in the handbook this year. You need to make sure that you read it so you can find out that one thing. And everybody laughs and stuff. But that's when I give them the handbook. Now here's the other part of things that I give them. On our very first preschool day, I give the students their brand new school t-shirt. They walk out with it after class is over. So that's a lot of fun. Everybody came to school super excited in their new school outfits, right? Which their parents are taking pictures of course. But then when they leave school, they have their brand new school t-shirt on. And that's really also cute because you've got all the kiddos lined up and they've got all their cute school t-shirts on as well. So those are the things that I hand out. I hand out the policies and procedures handbook, and then I also hand out, of course, the school t-shirt at the very first class day. Now, some preschool teachers do ask, wait a second, does everybody read the handbook? Can I confirm that everybody's read it? No, there will still be some people who don't read your handbook. It's just a numbers game. Always assume that 80% of the people will always read it, and you will always have about 20% of the people who will constantly be asking you questions, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. It's just a numbers game, and you'll always have that one parent who's just like oblivious to everything, and you almost have to like hold her by the hand with like life, right? Just a numbers game. Realize that every preschool is like that. Yours is not the exception. So that's why I also recommend not putting it digitally, because if you do it digitally and you're like, oh, by the way, make sure you go read that, and it's available digitally, it's like literally putting a wall around it and encouraging people not to read it. If it's something in their hand, they'll go home with it, they'll read it on the way home, in the car, things like that. They'll refer to it during the school year. Sometimes if a parent does text me mid-school year about, hey, when is that field trip? When is XYZ? I will always remind them first. I'll say, oh, I posted that in the newsletter. It's Saturday at 2 p.m. or whatever, because I always want them to remember where that information will be for the next time that they have that question in their head. Or, oh, it's in the handbook, it's 3 p.m. on Tuesday, or whatever the answer is. I always want to make sure that they know where to find the answer for next time. Post in the comments below any crazy times that you've ever had a parent just be super oblivious to everything. Like, wait a second, there's snow days? You know, when it's a blizzard outside, like, why don't we have school? I'd love to see all the stories that you have. I've got a few of my own. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos so I can get them to your friends and everyone who needs to see them.